Okay, so we've got this pretty interesting stack of stuff about SpiceNet.
Yeah.
And it's this new app chain on Celestia.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, it seems, for like juicing up this derivatives platform called Dexterity.
Mm-hmm.
And, I gotta say, when I saw that sub-millisecond transaction speeds thing,
Oh, yeah.
my ears perked up a little bit.
For
So
sure.
you must have known we'd be into that.
Well, it seems like you're interested in high-performance trading.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what SpiceNet is shooting for.
Okay.
And I think what's so interesting is, like, their choice to, like, build this on Celestia.
Yeah.
Instead of just sticking with Solana, where Dexterity already is, it's like they're saying, Solana's not enough. We need to go somewhere else to get the speed we want.
Yeah, it is like that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that tweet, where that guy was like complaining about Jupiter being so slow compared to Hyperliquid.
Right.
And it seems like that's a major pain point for traders, especially, in derivatives trading where things move so fast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're talking about derivatives, every millisecond counts.
Right.
If the platform's slow, you miss opportunities, you lose profits.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, like, the individual traders, right?
Yeah.
A slow platform impacts the whole market. Liquidity and efficiency, all that.
So SpiceNet's like trying to eliminate that, right?
So,
Create the superhighway for derivatives trading.
yep.
But why build a whole new app chain? Couldn't they have just used like a...
Solana permissioned environment.
Yeah.
FSP.
Like a private version of Solana to get that speed boost?
They did consider that, actually.
Okay.
But ultimately, they were like, nah, not going to do it.
Well, why?
It comes down to long-term vision and control, I think. Getting a validator set together for a private Solana fork, that would be a huge pain.
Right.
And SPEs, those don't work with the main Solana chain.
So they'd be stuck in a silo,
Exactly.
cut off from like new developments happening on Solana.
Yeah, plus an SPE would only be a temporary solution.
Yeah, they'd outgrow it.
Right. As the platform grows, the same scaling problems would pop up again.
Right.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg,
Yeah. AppChain, on the other hand, gives them the freedom to build what they need, optimized from the beginning for high performance.
So it's like building a race car instead of trying to, like, soup up your Honda Civic.
Exactly.
Speaking of custom builds, let's talk about this Sovereign Rollup thing.
Sure.
It sounds a bit, like, intimidating,
A little bit.
Like only for blockchain wizards or something.
It might sound complex, but the idea is actually pretty simple.
Okay.
SpiceNet's operating as a sovereign rollup,
Okay.
which means it's like an independent nation in the blockchain world.
Huh.
Its own rules, its own governance, its own nodes reaching consensus.
So how's that different from the more familiar rollups, like Arbitrum or Optimism?
So those are settled rollups.
Okay.
They rely on a base layer. Yeah. Like Ethereum to validate transactions, secure the network.
Yeah.
SpiceNet, being sovereign, doesn't need to answer to that higher authority. Self-governing.
More flexibility.
Yeah, much more control.
Okay, but wouldn't that make it harder to interact with other platforms?
That's a common thought, but actually it's the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sovereign rollups can be better for interoperability
Okay.
because they don't need to prove their state to a base layer.
Okay.
Like Ethereum, which is super expensive and time-consuming.
So they can just talk to other chains directly.
Yeah, like establishing diplomatic relations.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to ask about this next part because it's pretty radical.
Okay.
Ditching the virtual machine.
Right.
Most blockchains, they use a VM to run smart contracts, right?
Yeah.
Why would SpiceNet go VM-less?
It's bold, but in their context, it makes sense.
Okay.
By using native Rust code instead of a VM, they're getting rid of a layer of complexity.
A VM's like a universal translator, which is nice, but it can be slow and inefficient.
So they're going for a direct line of communication.
Exactly. No translator needed.
Yeah.
And Rust is known for speed and efficiency, right?
Yeah.
And since SpiceNet's an app chain just for dexterity, they don't need the flexibility of a VM.
So it's like building a Formula One car fine-tuned for one specific racetrack.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm seeing why they're so obsessed with speed.
Yeah.
So besides ditching the VM, what else are they doing to achieve those lightning-fast transactions?
They're using something called the Nearly Optimal Merkle Tree, or NOMT.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds super technical, but it basically helps them manage the blockchain state efficiently.
Super organized filing system for their data.
Exactly.
Nice.
They're also using asynchronous execution,
Okay.
which means the sequencer,
Uh-huh.
the thing that orders transactions,
Yeah.
can multitask like crazy.
Okay.
It can work on old transactions while also processing new ones.
Blockchain multitasking. Okay, is there anything else they're doing to squeeze out every bit of performance.
Well, they're exploring base sequencing, where users could actually skip the sequencer
Wow.
and just submit transactions directly to Celestia.
Okay.
It's still experimental,
Yeah.
but it could further decentralize the network
Mm-hmm.
and boost transaction speeds.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's not forget about the real-world stuff.
Right.
Like keeping prices updated and managing liquidations.
Yeah.
How's SpiceNet dealing with those kind of headaches?
They've got some clever solutions built right into the protocol.
Okay.
Their preferential state transition function. It prioritizes certain actions, so things like Oracle and mark price updates happen every block.
So no more stale prices causing problems.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And liquidations. Those are prioritized and done fast.
Okay.
Protects the protocol from bad debt.
Maybe.
Smooth user experience.
So they've really thought this through.
It seems like it.
Built a system that's fast and robust.
Yeah.
But they're not stopping there, right? They're already looking ahead
Right.
to even more advanced scaling techniques.
They are.
Like sharding and ZK rollups.
Exactly.
It sounds like they're planning for interstellar travel before they've even left the atmosphere.
Their roadmap is definitely ambitious.
Okay.
But, things move so fast in this space.
Yeah.
Who knows what's possible in a few years?
Yeah.
We could be on the edge of a whole new era of blockchain scalability and performance.
And SpiceNet could be leading the way, right?
It could be.
Okay, so before they blast off to the moon, what are you going to be watching for?
Well, first and foremost, can they actually hit those sub-millisecond transaction speeds?
Right. That's a big claim.
Yeah, we got to see how it works in the real world.
Real world conditions.
Exactly. And with those preferential transactions, can they really prioritize things without causing delays or disruptions?
That's tough, right?
It's a delicate balance.
Okay, so rigorous testing is needed.
For sure.
And then, there's the community.
Right.
Can they build a truly engaged community around SpiceNet?
Yeah, are those points going to,
Yeah.
get people involved long term?
Yeah.
Or will it just fizzle out?
Yeah, because that's always the challenge with projects that use incentives, right?
Yeah.
You want to attract people who believe in the project.
For sure.
Not just people who are there for a quick buck.
Absolutely. It's tricky.
Right.
You need that balance, incentives and shared purpose. And honestly, a little luck helps too.
Well, yeah, luck favors the prepared.
Right.
But from what we've seen so far, SpiceNet seems like they've got a good foundation.
I think so.
Technically and with their community strategy?
Yeah, they're definitely one to watch.
Okay.
Now, there's one more piece we haven't talked about.
Okay.
Those concerns about sovereign rollups and interoperability.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay.
Because I'm still not totally clear on how they'll ensure things run smoothly with other platforms, especially in DeFi, where everything needs to connect.
It's valid, but remember we said being a sovereign rollup might actually help them with interoperability.
Okay, remind me how.
They don't need to prove their state to a base layer like Ethereum.
Right, right.
So that's slow and expensive.
Yeah.
They can communicate directly with other chains and platforms.
So they're bypassing all the checkpoints,
Yes.
border control, customs, all that stuff.
Yeah, they can have those direct relationships, maybe even using lightweight clients or zero-knowledge proofs.
To make things faster and more secure. So it's about building bridges instead of tunnels.
Exactly.
Creating those high-speed connections so things can move smoothly between different blockchains.
You got it.
Okay.
But they're not just relying on, the natural perks of sovereign rollups.
Okay.
They're also looking at integrating with, existing solutions, like the Rome protocol.
Right, Rome.
Yeah.
Remind me what that is again.
So Rome enables shared sequencing and atomic transactions between rollups on Solana. So it's like a universal translator for the Solana rollup ecosystem.
Right.
Makes it easier for different platforms to talk to each other.
So by using that, SpiceNet can give their users a smoother experience, right?
Exactly.
And it comes to bridging assets and talking to other platforms.
Right. Instead of building their own isolated infrastructure, they're plugging into this network that already exists.
It's so smart.
It could really speed up their launch.
Makes them more competitive, too.
Yeah.
So they've got the flexibility of a sovereign rollup, but they're also using these existing solutions to make things more efficient.
It's a good strategy.
It is.
And it shows how important it is to think about interoperability from the start.
Yeah.
Especially for something like SpiceNet that wants to, disrupt an industry like derivatives trading.
Absolutely.
And we talked a lot about the technical side of things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the people that matter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
The developers, the visionaries, the ones who are really making this happen.
Right.
What do we know about them?
Yeah, because even the best idea is only as good as the people behind it.
Right.
And in blockchain, trust and transparency are everything.
Absolutely.
So who are the people behind SpiceNet?
Well, the stuff you sent focused mostly on the technical stuff. So we see their thinking.
Yeah.
But not much about them personally.
It's a bit of a black box then.
Yeah, a little bit.
And in this space, we've seen enough scams and rug pulls that lack of transparency could worry some people.
Yeah, it's something to keep in mind.
Okay.
But, SpiceNet being built on the Sovereign SDK.
Yeah.
And that's developed by a good team.
So at least there's some trust there.
Yeah, some credibility built into the foundation.
But hopefully, as SpiceNet gets closer to launching, they'll be more open about the team.
I agree.
Transparency builds trust.
Absolutely.
So for now, we'll focus on what we do know.
The tech, the vision, the potential impact.
Yep.
And based on that, SpiceNet looks really interesting.
I think so.
It's a fascinating story that's just starting.
Yeah.
And we'll be here to keep you updated as it develops.
Definitely.
Speaking of developing, there's one more element of SpiceNet we haven't gotten into.
Okay.
Their approach to community building.
Right.
The Spice Chads, the kings, the gods.
Yeah, it's a unique system.
Yeah, like a gamified hierarchy. You level up based on what you contribute.
Exactly. And those contributions aren't just about money.
Right.
They're talking about rewarding participation, creating content, finding bugs, even spreading awareness about SpiceNet.
So it's like they're creating a little society within their ecosystem.
Yeah, different roles and levels of recognition.
Okay.
Those roles come with benefits.
Yeah.
The higher you are, the bigger your share of the airdrop.
Okay, so it's smart.
Yeah.
It incentivizes early adoption.
Right.
Creates buzz. But can they keep that going?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Will it be a thriving community?
Yeah.
Or will it fizzle out?
Because it all comes down to whether they can build a real sense of community, where people are connected to the project's mission and to each other.
For sure.
It's got to go beyond just the money.
Absolutely. A thriving community is built on shared values, purpose, a real belief in the project.
Okay.
That's what makes it special.
So let's zoom out for a sec.
Okay.
What does the rise of projects like SpiceNet tell us about blockchain in general?
I think it shows we're moving away from those one-size-fits-all blockchains.
Like Ethereum?
Yeah, we're seeing more specialized blockchains,
Okay.
each designed for a specific use case.
So SpiceNet, laser-focused on derivatives trading, that's a perfect example.
Exactly. It's like evolution.
Ah.
As blockchain grows up, we see more specialized forms.
Adapted to specific niches.
Right.
Okay.
And this specialization creates new challenges.
Right.
Well, interoperability becomes super important.
Yeah, because we can't have all these blockchains isolated from each other.
Exactly. We need ways to connect them.
Right.
So that's where things like Sovereign Rollups and Rome come in.
Yeah.
They're setting the stage for a future where everything's connected.
Okay.
Where value and information flow freely between different blockchains.
It's an exciting time to be in this space.
It really is.
So for our listener who's been learning about SpiceNet with us, what's the key takeaway?
Well, I think SpiceNet shows us how much innovation is happening in blockchain.
Yeah.
They're pushing the boundaries, not just with technology,
Right.
but also with community and governance.
It's a project to watch closely.
It is.
Not just for its impact on trading, but for what it tells us about the future of blockchain in general.
If you're interested in DeFi and how blockchain can change industries, SpiceNet is definitely one to keep on your radar.
And who knows, maybe you'll even become a Spice King or Queen yourself.
Now, that would be something.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Absolutely.
We hope you found it insightful.
Yeah, and inspiring.
And remember, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop learning.
Couldn't agree more. It's cool how they've really made community a core part of the platform.
Yeah.
It's not just about, throwing money at people either.
Right.
They're creating a space where people can learn and contribute and even have some fun.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that community actually develops over time.
Right.
Will it be this a vibrant hub of SpiceNet fans?
Yeah.
Or will it just kind of fizzle out once the airdrop hype is gone?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
I mean, building a lasting community, it takes more than just hype and rewards.
Right.
You need a shared purpose, a real connection between people.
It reminds me of those early Bitcoin and Ethereum communities.
Yeah.
Where people were drawn to the tech itself.
Right, the potential.
Yeah, being part of something revolutionary.
Exactly. Those communities were driven by idealism and this desire to change the world.
So it'll be interesting to see if SpiceNet can capture that same energy.
We'll see.
Speaking of idealism, Let's talk about some of the challenges they might face.
Okay.
They've made some bold choices, like ditching the VM for pure Rust code. So that could give them a speed boost.
Right.
But doesn't it also limit their flexibility down the road?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They're betting that speed is more valuable than being able to run any smart contract they want.
So speed and efficiency above all else.
Exactly.
Which makes sense for, like, high-frequency traders, their target audience.
Right.
But what if they need a feature later on that requires a VM?
Yeah.
Would they have to, like, rebuild the whole platform?
Well, they did mention in one of their documents that they might integrate a VM later if needed.
Okay, so it's not like a hard no.
Not a permanent limitation.
It's a choice they're making for now.
Yeah, like a strategic decision for this stage.
So it's like saying, we're building a supersonic jet, but we might add some luxury seats later.
If people want them.
Yeah, right now it's all about speed.
Speed and performance, that's the focus.
Okay.
But they're keeping an eye on the future, too.
Yeah, being adaptable is key.
For sure, especially in blockchain.
Yeah, things change so fast.
All the time.
New challenges, new opportunities.
You got to be able to adapt.
Okay, speaking of adapting, SpiceNet has some pretty ambitious plans for the future.
They do.
Shorting, ZK rollups.
Yeah.
It's like they're planning for interstellar travel before they've even left the ground.
Their roadmap is ambitious, that's for sure.
It is.
But again, who knows what's possible in a few years?
Yeah.
Blockchain innovation is happening so fast.
So fast.
We could be on the cusp of a whole new era of scalability and performance.
Right. And SpiceNet could be right there leading the way.
They could be.
But before they, take us to Mars,
Yeah.
What are you going to be looking for as they get closer to launch?
So, first of all, can they really deliver those sub-millisecond transaction speeds?
Right. That's the big one.
It's a huge claim. We need to see it actually work.
In real-world conditions.
Exactly. And with those preferential transactions, can they prioritize things without causing problems?
It's a tough balance.
It is really delicate.
Okay.
And then there's the community, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Will those points actually translate into long-term engagement?
Right. Will people stick around?
Or will it be a flash in the pan?
Yeah, because that's the challenge with incentives.
Uh-huh.
You want people who believe in the project.
Right, not just chasing rewards. It's a tough needle to thread.
It is.
You need the incentives, but you also need that shared sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Honestly. And a little bit of luck never hurts.
True. Luck favors the prepared, though.
That's true.
But so far, it seems like SpiceNet has a solid foundation.
I think so, too.
Both with the tech and their community strategy.
Yeah, they're one to watch, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, there's one more thing we haven't really dug into.
Okay.
Remember those concerns about sovereign rollups and interoperability?
Yeah, let's unpack that a bit more.
Okay.
I'm still a little fuzzy on how they'll make sure things work smoothly with other platforms.
Right.
Especially in DeFi, where it's all about connecting different things.
Yeah, that's important.
It is.
But like we said earlier, being sovereign might actually be good for interoperability.
Okay. Remind me how.
They don't need to prove their state to a base layer.
Right, like Ethereum.
Yeah, which is slow and costly.
Yeah.
They can communicate directly with other chains.
So they're cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. No more waiting in line.
Okay. That makes sense.
And they could even use lightweight clients or zero-knowledge proofs.
To make things faster and more secure.
Right.
So it's about building those direct connections.
Exactly. Those high-speed links between different blockchain ecosystems.
Okay, I'm getting it.
But they're not just relying on the inherent benefits of being sovereign.
Okay.
They're also looking at using existing solutions.
Yeah.
Like the Rome protocol.
Right. Rome, can you remind me what that does again?
So Rome enables shared sequencing and atomic transactions between different rollups on Solana.
Uh-huh.
It's a common language for them to communicate.
Okay.
Makes things smoother.
So by tapping into that, SpiceNet can offer a better user experience.
Exactly.
Especially when it comes to moving assets between platforms.
Exactly. They're plugging into this existing infrastructure.
Right. Instead of trying to build it all themselves.
It could save them a lot of time.
And make them more competitive.
For sure.
So it's like they're taking the best of both worlds.
Yeah. The flexibility of being sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
Combined with the efficiency of these existing solutions.
It's a smart move.
It is.
And it shows how important it is to think about interoperability from the very beginning.
Absolutely. Especially when you're trying to disrupt a whole industry.
Okay. We've talked a lot about the tech side of SpiceNet.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the people who make it happen.
That's true.
We've touched on the community.
Right.
But what about the team behind it? The developers, the visionaries?
Yeah, the people who are pouring their heart and soul into this.
What do we know about them?
That's a great question. Because even the most brilliant idea needs the right people to execute it.
And in this space, trust is everything.
Absolutely. Transparency is crucial.
So what do we know about the SpiceNet team? We've seen their technical skills, but who are they? What are their backgrounds? What drives them?
Well, the information you gave me focused mainly on the technical side.
Okay.
So we get a sense of their thinking, but not much about them personally.
So it's kind of like a mystery box then.
Yeah, a little bit.
And, this industry has seen its fair share of scam.
Right. Rug pulls, all that.
Yeah, so that lack of transparency could be a red flag for some people.
It's definitely something to be aware of.
Okay.
But it's worth noting that SpiceNet is built on the Sovereign SDK.
Right.
And that's developed by a reputable team.
So there's some level of trust there.
Yeah, the foundation is solid.
But hopefully, as SpiceNet gets closer to launch, they'll be more open about the team.
Yeah, more transparency would be good.
It would build trust.
For sure.
So for now, we'll focus on what we do know.
Okay.
The tech, the vision, the potential.
Yeah.
And based on that, SpiceNet is looking pretty promising.
It is. It's a compelling project.
It's a story that's just beginning to unfold.
Definitely.
And we'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way.
Absolutely.
Speaking of unfolding, there's one more aspect of SpiceNet we haven't really explored.
Okay. What's that?
Their approach to community building.
Ah, right. The Spice Chads, Kings, and Gods.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique system.
It is.
Like a game where you level up based on your contributions.
Exactly. And those contributions can be all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Not just financial.
Okay.
Participating in discussions, creating content, helping find bugs. Even just spreading the word about SpiceNet.
So they're encouraging people to get involved in different ways.
Yeah, building a real ecosystem.
Okay.
With different roles and levels of recognition.
And those roles come with perks, right?
They do. The higher your level, the more you stand to gain from the airdrop.
It's a smart way to incentivize people early on.
It is. Create some excitement.
But the question is, can they keep that momentum going?
That's the challenge.
Will it be a vibrant, thriving community?
Yeah, a real community.
Or will it just fizzle out once the initial hype dies down?
It all comes down to creating genuine connections.
Yeah.
A sense of shared purpose, a belief in the project's vision.
Right. It has to go beyond just the rewards.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a minute.
Okay.
Think about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
What does the rise of projects like SpiceNet tell us about the blockchain landscape as a whole?
I think it shows that we're moving towards more specialization.
Okay.
We're seeing a Cambrian explosion of different blockchains.
A Cambrian explosion.
Yeah, like all these new forms of life evolving.
Right.
Each one adapted to a specific niche.
And SpiceNet is one of those new life forms, right?
It is perfectly suited for high-frequency trading.
Okay, I like that analogy.
But this specialization also brings new challenges.
Like what?
Well, interoperability becomes even more important.
Right, because we can't have all these blockchains isolated from each other.
Exactly. We need ways to connect them.
Or bridges between islands.
Exactly. And that's where things like Sovereign Rollups and Rome come in.
Yeah.
They're laying the groundwork for a more interconnected future.
Where everything can communicate seamlessly.
Exactly.
It's a pretty exciting time to be watching all this unfold.
It really is.
So for our listener who's been deep diving into SpiceNet with us, what's the key takeaway here?
Well, I think SpiceNet is a great example of how fast blockchain is evolving.
Yeah.
They're pushing the boundaries, not just with the technology itself,
right,
but also with how they're building their community and their governance.
It's a project worth keeping an eye on.
Definitely.
Not just for its impact on trading, but for what it tells us about the future of blockchain as a whole.
If you're interested in DeFi and how blockchain can change the world, SpiceNet is one to watch.
And hey, maybe you'll even become a spice god or goddess yourself.
Now that would be something.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope you found it informative and inspiring.
Yeah, inspiring is a good word.
And remember, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's kind of crazy to think that, just a few years ago, a specialized blockchain for, high-frequency trading would have sounded like out of a movie or something.
Yeah, I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But now it's actually happening.
It's real.
It really shows how fast things are moving in the blockchain world.
Yeah.
And SpiceNet is just one example.
Yeah.
We're seeing this specialization trend everywhere.
Okay.
Gaming, supply chain stuff, digital ID.
It's like the internet back in the day.
Right.
Remember how it all started out like kind of generic?
Yeah, super basic.
And then gradually, everything became more specialized.
As people figured out what they could do with it.
Yeah, as they realized the potential.
Exactly.
And as all these like specialized blockchains are popping up, the need for interoperability becomes even more important.
Oh, absolutely.
We can't have all these separate islands of innovation.
Right. They need to be connected.
Yeah.
We need bridges, tunnels, high-speed rails, whatever it takes.
To link them all together.
Exactly.
And that's where things like sovereign rollups and protocols like Rome come in.
Yeah, they're paving the way.
Yeah.
For this like interconnected multi-chain future.
Where everything can work together.
Seamlessly.
Yeah.
Where value and information can just flow between different blockchains.
It's an exciting time to be in this space, wouldn't you say?
It really is. It's like we're seeing the birth of a new internet. One that's decentralized, secure, and open to everyone.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And SpiceNet is like right there in the front lines.
Leading the charge.
Yeah.
They're pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Not just with the tech, but also with like community and governance.
It's a fascinating case study.
It is.
And I'm really curious to see how they handle all the challenges and opportunities that are coming their way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch how it all plays out.
So for our listener who's been on this deep dive with us, learning about SpiceNet,
yeah,
what's the big takeaway? What should they be thinking about as they see this project develop?
I think the key takeaway is that SpiceNet represents something really important.
Oh.
It embodies that spirit of innovation and disruption that's driving the whole blockchain revolution.
And they're not afraid to break the mold.
Not at all. They're challenging the status quo, pushing the limits.
Trying to create something truly new and different.
Exactly. And potentially game-changing.
So if you're interested in the future of DeFi and how blockchain can change industries, make things better.
SpiceNet is a project to keep an eye on.
And who knows, maybe you'll even join their community.
Yeah.
Become a Spice King or Queen yourself.
Now that would be something.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you found it insightful, maybe even inspiring.
Yeah. Inspiring is a good word.
And remember, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop learning.
Couldn't agree more.